Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel Flores, and I'm a representative for EHL based in Switzerland and Singapore. I wanted to present to you today on the topic of applying to international universities. So to start off with, what international universities are looking for, or the ideal profile of a candidate who wants to do a degree abroad, not study abroad, but do a degree abroad, are the following. So first thing is you have to be open-minded. With that comes the willingness to learn a new language. You may be in a completely foreign country and you don't need to know the language to start there, but you need to be open to learning it in addition to maybe learning other languages if your program also embeds internships in other foreign countries. You also have to be culturally curious. You're not going to be around people from your area necessarily. You're going to be with people from all over the world, and that entails a lot of cultural differences, a lot of differences of opinion, and then also the political, social, cultural differences. So as long as you're open to learning more about others, that's a huge plus. You also have to be independent. You are not at home anymore. You're out of your comfort zone and you're learning so much more about yourself. So if you're able to manage your time wisely and still be able to get out there and introduce yourself to people and manage your finances, if you aren't good at that right now, you will definitely be good at that by the time that you finish. You also have to be passionate about traveling. I mean, it's a commitment to do a degree abroad, but then the great thing is, for instance, when you're in Europe, you can take flights in and out of countries in the same day. So it's something that people really look forward to say, hey, I'm going to go to Barcelona over the weekend. Adaptable means adapting to the changes in environment, changes in climate, changes in classrooms, changes with people. As long as you're able to kind of be a chameleon and go in and out of your own comfort zone, that's a great thing. Now, the benefits of studying in Europe. uh, there's a common misconception that it's more expensive to do a degree abroad than stay local. And the fact is that's not accurate. It could actually be more advantageous for you to do a degree abroad than stay at home. A big reason why is that in Europe, most degrees can actually take 3 years to complete. Why? We don't do general eds. So instead of a 4 or 5 year degree, where 2 years is doing general ed, and then you get into your major courses, in Europe, you go into your major courses um, directly. Now, this can also differ in the UK, where the UK will offer more liberal arts style. In mainland Europe, not so much. So there's going to be a differentiating factor there. Also, Europe is home to the world's first university in Bologna, Italy. So we have a long-standing tradition of providing quality education. Another reason why people do a degree abroad is because they want a global career. If you ever saw yourself working for a multinational organization or having the flexibility to work in France at a bank, then work at a bank in Singapore, then transfer to a marketing firm in Australia, then work at a luxury goods store in Colombia, doing a degree abroad allows you that opportunity to. Why? Because you're getting exposure to different countries while you're in the program. You're meeting people from all over the world, and you're also developing a global network. It's very different than, for instance, I went to San Jose State and the alumni network was mostly in the Bay Area. So it was great to make connections there, but if I was to try to get a job in Taiwan, there's no way. Now, another thing is being in Europe, because of the size of it, you have access to different cultures and languages. For instance, in a 3 hour flight from the Geneva airport in Switzerland, you're in 37 countries. Very different than a 3 hour flight, and we're barely at the border of Canada. Okay. Now, living abroad, completely different experience. Once again, you're going to get outside of your comfort zone, and that comes with the goods and the bads. So the first thing is homesickness. You're going to hit it. You're going to wish that you were with friends or family or close by. The time difference is going to be rough. But once again, that's about you being outside of your comfort zone and forcing yourself to meet new people. Language barriers, that's going to happen. If you study at a university in Germany that's taught in English, but you're still in Germany, when you get to the city center, it's going to be mostly German. But once again, if you came in with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to learn German or practice it, this will be a great way for you to adapt quicker, learn the language, and then apply that to your career. Because once again, employers love it when people know multiple languages. And then it is a new way of living. For instance, we may be used to the 24/7, we'll just hit up Walmart for whatever we need to get. Restaurants are open super late. In Europe, it's not necessarily that. Um, there aren't as many 24/7 stores. There's some countries where Sunday, only the essentials are open. So you can't necessarily go shopping. It's a very different way of living. And the reality is in Europe, they have a great work-life balance. In the US, we live to work. In Europe, it's we work to live. So if you're looking for that great balance, Europe is a phenomenal opportunity. But once again, through going all of these experiences of being in a foreign country, learning a new language, meeting new people, you actually start to learn a lot more about yourself. You may have thought that you were scared of, what happens if I say something to somebody, or what would it be like to actually interact with somebody from this country, or what would it be like to travel alone? You're doing all of that. So it may hit you one day later on down the road where like, man, I didn't think that I could do that, but you did. So that's a great thing. And a lot of universities also have dorms and apartments. So you will have a place to stay. Universities have things set up where if they don't have a dorm or an apartment complex, they'll let you know what the transition would be like for you to actually do your degree at their school. But once again, the most important thing, you get to travel. Think down the road. If you always wanted to go to Barcelona, if you always want to go to Paris, if you always wanted to go to Milan, you don't have to wait till you graduate from college to do that. You could do that as part of your curriculum. That's a great thing. Also on the practical side, now, all universities help you with the visa process, especially the small schools. You have a one-on-one person to help you with that. So it's not like you're figuring things out on your own. Okay. Once again, the dorms and apartments, most universities offer that. So you will have a place to live. Health insurance is something you also need to think about, but that will be disclosed by the school you will be attending. The passport, funny thing is there are a lot of Americans that don't have a passport and you're going to need one. So if you don't have one now, I would definitely recommend getting it because you don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. That's how long they're valid for. So if you think you see yourself maybe doing a program abroad, a summer program, or even a full degree, get your passport now, do some travel beforehand. Even during COVID times, there is the opportunity to do that. It's all on your comfort level, but get the passport because at least you know if you ever want to book a ticket somewhere, you have it handy. Bank accounts. When you go to a foreign country, you're going to need to set up a new bank account. So there are processes in place that the school should help you out with to get that. And then also cell phone number. Some of you may have heard of WhatsApp. Pretty much my experience has been anybody outside of the US uses WhatsApp to communicate. It's pretty much like iMessage, but in a bigger context for people that don't just have iPhones. So WhatsApp is a way that most people communicate outside of the US. Now the big question, how do I get in? What's the process like? Is it super weird or is it pretty consistent with what you can expect in the United States? There's two approaches. One of them is going to be holistic and one of them is going to be more quantitative. I'll go over holistic and then I'll explain what quantitative is. Holistic means that a school looks at you as an individual. So your academics, but then also what do you do outside of school? Uh, that's great if you get good grades, but they want more than that. They want somebody to contribute to campus life. So what talents do you have? Do you hold any leadership positions? Because that may be important, especially if you do a lot of teamwork in class. We want to make sure that you have experience ahead of time to bring that to campus. But also we want to know your motivation. If you're going to a school merely for the ranking or whatnot, that's not what schools want. They want you to contribute. It's a give and a take. But then also international outlook. Have you traveled before? Do you know multiple languages? Are you open to doing so? Because when you go to a foreign country, you're not going to live the American lifestyle. It's going to be a completely different change. So if you're not open to that, that's something that they look into. And also, depending on the university, you might need to be 18 to start the program. Some schools may offer 2 intakes per year, where it's a February and a September, or some may be once a year. You just have to double check with them. Now, for the quantitative, it's super simple. If you don't meet certain grades or certain test scores, don't waste your time applying because you will not get in. Um, the saying is, those schools sacrifice flexibility for transparency. So if you don't have a certain test score and they require it, you're not getting in. Don't waste your time, focus on something else. You might find that mostly in the UK, but once again, it's all about what type of experience you're looking for. And if you're not a strong test taker, then maybe you want a school that's a little bit more holistic in their approach. So that way they see everything that you do outside of it. As far as EHL goes, we do holistic and we have 3 phases. A lot of schools are on the Common App. If you don't know what Common App is right now, you will definitely by your definitely your senior year. Uh, but we also do an online video assessment, and then we also have an in-person uh, interview, team building exercise, and whatnot. So at EHL, we go the extra step because this is a hospitality and business school. So we want to make sure that you can interact with people. Other holistic schools may not necessarily have these many steps, or they might just do one interview. So every university is different. And you will hear this time and time again. It depends. It's annoying, but it depends. Every school is different. Every country is different. And the requirements are also different as such. Okay. So for academic requirements, for the most part, you're going to need to graduate from high school and then have a strong command of English. Or if you decided you wanted to go to a public school, let's just say in Germany, you would need to be fluent in German. But mind you, everything would be in German. So I'm specifically talking about international schools taught in English in foreign countries. Okay. And then the requirements may differ from school to school, but then also from degree to degree. So you always want to talk to people like me, your admissions or recruitment officer, and we will let you know what the requirements are based off the diploma that you have. So whether it's an American high school diploma, which is what mostly everybody gets here in the States, or if you do the IB diploma, or if you do a French bac or German Abitur, uh, the requirements are going to be different. Also, with the change in the academic landscape, some schools may now be test optional, some may be test focused. Once again, it's about, are they focused more on your grades, or are the grades taken into consideration in your overall profile? So there are a lot more schools that are going test optional, but there are some schools that aren't, merely because it deals with accreditation. So they need to make sure that you meet a certain level of academic rigor to be on track when you get to Europe. Because remember, in Europe, by the time actually you graduate from high school, you're already on a track. You already know you want to study psychology or economics or business, because that's how they prepare you in high school. Whereas high school in the US, for the most part, unless you're in IB curriculum or whatnot, but generally speaking, American high school diploma is very liberal artsy. You're taking science, math, English, history. So if you're a business major, you don't want to take history courses, but you need to. So there's a big difference there. And once again, language requirements. This differs per school. Some may offer exemptions because you've been taught predominantly English for 3 years or more. So you don't need to take an English language exam. But there are others where maybe you do need to take a TOEFL, IELTS, Cambridge, or you can supplement with an IB high level certificate in English, depending on the class, or there's also Duolingo, which is a new way of testing your English skill. So once again, it depends. You have to ask the school what their requirements are. Now, tips for a successful application, it definitely depends, but at the same token, a lot of this is general information that can be applied. So first, do your research. Know what the school specializes in. Know what degree you're getting yourself into. Know the curriculum and the courses that you're taking, because then you start to get excited about what's to come. If you have the ability to, also get work experience. This is great because if you think you want to be an entrepreneur and then you work for a startup, then that's going to give you insight. And then also, depending on the school, you might need to get you might want to complete your military experience or service before you start your university. Okay. Now, essay is also a big component of it. So show your personality in your essay. You definitely have somebody revise it before you submit it, but take your time. This is you on paper. And lastly, own your application. When you hit that submit button, you need to feel proud. But the way to own it is to do everything up front. Now, you're also going to be hearing this too as far as find your fit. This is important. So think down the road. Who are you? What are you doing 5 to 10 years after you graduate? Are you in an office? Are you out and about? Are you with people from all over the world? Does that even matter? So once you determine who you are, then after that, you have to find the degree that's going to get you there. And when I say the degree, we all may have heard of psychology and business, but look at the actual courses. So then look at the specific courses, and if most of them sound interesting, that is a good fit. Outside of that, think of the campus lifestyle. Every campus is different. The landscapes, maybe one's in the city center, one is going to be in the middle of a hill, one's on top of a mountain, one's in a farm with nothing but animals around. The location plus what is the lifestyle like on campus? Are students talking to each other? Are they all over the place? That's going to give you an idea of if it's a good fit or not. But then also even outside of campus, what is the local lifestyle like? Do you want something more chill, laid back, or do you want something more fast paced? Because different schools offer different lifestyles, or at least in the cities. But then also jobs or not, are you looking to go to school to get a job, or you want to be a professional student? Because really, depending on the route, um, some schools prepare you for one or the other much better. Okay. But then you have to go in with realistic expectations. And this is even for your college search. Um, why are you going to college? What are you looking for out of the experience? What do you want to show for at the end of the day? Uh, personally speaking, long gone are the days where you should be shooting for Ivy leads because, it's a prestige thing. I mean, you could be number one in the world, but it doesn't mean that you're number one for everybody. So make sure that the schools that you're applying to, you can actually get into, or they will serve their purpose and give you the experience that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, looking at it black and white, when you finish, you get a piece of paper with your name on it and with the school's name on it. Yeah, that's what people are striving for. It's the experience and what you do while you're in college that makes it a great 3 to 5 years, depending on where you go. And last but not least, the school, make sure it's accredited. Most schools are, but some schools are not. If the degree or the school is not accredited, it is not legit. Okay. Also, another thing to consider is for-profit versus nonprofit schools. A lot of schools are nonprofit. There are some that are for-profit, which means if a school makes money, the first thing that it does is gives that money to their shareholders and not necessarily reinvest in their students. Okay. So the focus is going to be very different than a nonprofit. So getting into the school that I work for, EHL, this is what the school looks like today. We have over 120 nationalities. 84% of our students know 3 or more languages. I don't say that to freak you out. But the great thing is when you graduate, you will know three or more. We also have 30 student committees on campus, which in essence are student clubs. You might notice everybody's dressed up. This is our dress code. We wear suits every single day. It's about preparing you for the real world. So this is what also makes us unique. When I went to school over here at San Jose State, you could show up in jeggings and a sweatshirt, or you could also not show up to class if you wanted to. So things are very, very different. Europe, it is more serious, but because we want to prepare you for the real world. You can't decide one day to just not show up to work or show up um, in a sweatshirt and you work at Louis Vuitton. Now, another thing we're proud about is for 3 years in a row, we have been ranked #1 worldwide for hospitality and leisure management. Um, Once again, rankings are rankings taken with a grain of salt. We are not #1 for everybody, but it's really something that we're proud about because it shows the amount of time that we put into our curriculum, but also our career outcomes. Now, outside of that, we are the first and only school with a Michelin star training restaurant. Doesn't mean that you're going to grow up to be a chef, but if you ever wanted to learn what it takes to create that experience, you get to do that on campus. We also have dual accreditation by the US and Swiss government, which means when you graduate from EHL, you can work and you can continue your education, so pursue a master's or doctoral degree anywhere around the world. So once again, the world becomes your oyster, especially when you study at an international school abroad. Now, one of our campuses, we have Lausanne, which is in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. Very sustainable. This is very modern, minimalistic, and is actually our sports complex. That's going to be done by the end of the year. We have two brand new dorms, two brand new apartment buildings, three brand new dorms. We're also a 3-hour flight from 37 different countries from the Geneva airport, which is about an hour away from Lausanne, 45 minutes by train. So this is the quintessential European experience. If you're looking for something completely different, we also offer our campus in Singapore. Singapore is like the Switzerland of Asia because it's small in size, but also filled with expats. So people that are from other countries that are living or working there. In a 3-hour flight, you're in 17 different countries. Singapore is completely different with the landscape. So more lights, more sustainable, more luscious green. It's just a younger city per se, or younger area. But it's also hotter, humid, closer to the equator. So the landscape's going to be different because of that too. So if you wanted an Asian experience, then you get it in Singapore. But if you wanted the European experience, you get it in Switzerland, and you could also do semesters abroad. So as far as our curriculum goes, it's a 4-year degree. The first 6 months, you switch off courses every single week. Then after that, you have your first 6-month internship anywhere around the world. So in your first year, you're in up to 2 countries, not including weekend trips. After that, you come back for 3 semesters, you take business courses, language courses, and hospitality courses. We offer German, French, Russian, Mandarin, Spanish. So once again, if you want to learn another language, it's part of our curriculum. And there are other international schools abroad that also do this. And then when you finish that, you do your second 6-month internship, same deal, anywhere around the world. So you get another chance to travel, learn or practice another language, and get work experience. Then you come back for your final year, you take advanced management theory courses, elective courses, and you actually finish off being a consultant. This is what leads 96% of our students to get a job within 6 months of graduation. And that's the highest of any school offering this program. Now, another thing to look into with schools, where are their alumni going? What fields and what companies? Because if you wanted an international career and you found out that everybody's staying in the States, it's going to be a hard road to get to your end goal. So with our school, 47% of our alumni go into the traditional, what people think hospitality is: hotels, restaurants, banquets, spas, airlines. But hospitality is business. Anything you do with a business degree, you could do with a hospitality degree. So make it easy on you. If you hate people, go study business. If you love people, hospitality is the best of both worlds, and you get to make a living out of being yourself. So as a result, 53% of our alumni go into banking, accounting, NGOs, education, healthcare, health and beauty, anything where you're working with people. We also have over 30,000 alumni working in over 150 countries. So this is a global career. And to prove the point once again, these are all companies that hire our students for internships or even full-time jobs. So banking, big four accounting firms, hotels, 4 and 5 star, health and beauty, airlines, World Economic Forum, banking, luxury goods, travel, a little bit of everything. Another thing to consider is a lot of schools do offer financial aid, whether it's through FAFSA or whether it's institutional based scholarships. So there are ways of making it affordable. You have to ask the school. Don't stop at when a school tells you how much they are, because if it's above this number that you think you can afford, you are missing out on opportunities. Apply to the schools that make sense for what you're looking for. Because when you apply to the schools, then you can also apply for their scholarships. If you do not apply to the school, you are ineligible for their scholarships. So the price that they say they cost, that's how much it'll be. But if you apply and you're eligible for a scholarship, that price that they said it would be, maybe it's cut into 20% all the way down to full ride, depending on where you go. So apply to the schools that make sense. So if you're thinking, okay, well, that's awesome. What do I do to prepare? Think about what are you going to be doing this summer? It's cool to hang out and just relax from, school and whatnot, but make the most out of your summer. So for instance, at EHL, we offer digital and we also offer junior academy where it's on site either in Singapore, in Lausanne, or in Passau, Switzerland, or you could do our digital program if you don't feel comfortable with traveling. A lot of schools offer summer programs where it's an insight into what would it be like to be a student here or study this specific major. Those are so important because that will give you insight into what would it be like to be a student at this school? What is it like to be in this country, study this major? At the end of the day, you're going to find out, I love or hate this school, I love or hate this degree, I love or hate this country, whatever it may be. That's not a bad thing. Now, going into your next year, you start to narrow down your search. Plus, schools love it when you did more than just go to school. And also there may be some financial incentives or make the process a little bit easier. For instance, doing junior academy, which is on site, get your application fee waived, which is $175, plus you bypass the second phase of our admissions process. So look into schools, look into degrees, and see if you can do a summer program there. Talk to students, talk to alumni. That's where you get an idea of what is it like on campus, but what is it like for me in my career down the road. So with that being said, that was it. That's all I wanted to kind of share with you today. If you ever have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. My name, once again, is Daniel Flores. My email is daniel.flores@ehl.ch. And my phone number is 415-690-9155. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And thank you so much for stopping by today. Take care.